Mosquito is not the parasite, it is the malarial protozoa which is present inside the mosquito, that is the actual parasite. And so the question is the growing embryo, the fetus or the unborn baby within the womb of the mother, is it a parasite? Really?
Question is, high density of elephant population in an area result in. So this question, this came in the year 2007.
Hello there, welcome to my channel Beyond Biology. I'm Shomi. Today is the second class of this NCERT revision series and the topic is ecology and environment. The link for the first class is in the description box. Do check it out. So the topic we were dealing with was organism and population, and today we will deal with this particular subtopic, I should say, which is population interaction. So we are going to explore population interaction, focusing on the positive and the negative effect. Before we move on to species interaction, let us first revise a little what particular topic it is: ecological hierarchy. I will put the link of that video of ecological hierarchy in the description box. But just to recap the things that we need right now is that the base of ecological hierarchy is species or individual. Okay, for example, I'm an individual. Then comes population. Okay, when there are more than one individual of the same species, it is known as population. For example, I am interacting with you, right? So you and I together we make a population. When we are interacting, when we are taking considerations of other species, it leads to community. This much is required. Okay, so what is species interaction? Interaction, you have understood species, right? Individuals. So interaction means any form of communication, you can say, any form of interaction, be it praying over or you can say being the host. Okay, so we can say this, consider this as a form of interaction. So species interaction refers to any form of communication or relationship between different organisms. Okay, and it can be both positive and negative. Okay, so if the interaction, that is, for example, I'm the teacher, you're the student, we are communicating, right? So this is a form of interaction. So we are having some sort of interaction in which both we are benefiting in some way or the other. I'm not benefiting directly, but you are, right? So there is some sort of relation which is positive, and this sort of positive relation is species interaction, which is positive. Okay, we will understand positive interactions in details. Next is negative. For example, let us consider that I have put you in a cage with a lion. Okay, so we cannot expect you to sing lullaby to the lion, right? So there has to be some negative consequences. In that case, that will also be some sort of interaction, but that is going to have negative effect. So that is a species interaction through negative effect. Again, species interaction can be intraspecific and interspecific. Okay, intraspecific and interspecific. Okay, so when it is between the same species, individuals of the same species. Okay, for example, I and you. Okay, so we are of the same species, Homo sapiens, right? We are humans, so we are individuals of the same species. It becomes intra. When it is individuals of different species, for example, if you are considering you and the lion, okay, so that becomes inter, in between two different species. We will be starting with the negative interactions first. Okay, so we have all watched boxing matches, right? And we are going to correlate the negative interactions with the boxing matches, and I can assure you it is going to be fun, and this will help you to learn and to memorize things faster. It is much easier that way. Okay, so negative interactions can be of 4 types. What are these? These are parasitism, predation, competition, commensalism, right? These are the 4 types of negative interactions that are seen in nature. So the first one is parasitism, and I know this one is a bizarre picture, and when I made this picture, I tell you, I was in splits and I laughed so hard my jaws were hurting. So anyway, so parasitism, what is parasitism? Parasitism is when one organism is benefited in some way by harming the other organism, which is generally the host in this case. Here you can see a mosquito. Okay, so don't get me wrong here, mosquito is not a parasite. Okay, so ma'am, why have you used mosquito here? So mosquito is not the parasite, it is the malarial protozoa which is present inside the mosquito, that is the actual parasite, and it is mainly affecting the host human. Okay, so this is a negative interaction between the two. And what is that parasite doing? So the malarial parasite, specifically if I say plasmodium is a genus, and there are 4 different types of species like ovale, falciparum, malarial, and vivax. Okay, these are the 4 species that are responsible for causing the fever, malaria. Okay, so what they do is the parasite, the malarial parasite, it infects the mosquito as well. Okay, the mosquito here acts as a vector. Here vector, you can relate vector with a car. Okay, here the mosquito acts as a car for the malarial parasite. It gets in, it completes a part of its life cycle within the mosquito, and the mosquito, the infected mosquito, goes and bites the human, the host, and it transfers the disease to the host here. Okay, and thereby completing the second half of the life cycle of that parasite, malarial parasite. So the parasite is the winner here, and it is affecting the host, the human. Okay, so here the parasite is injected inside the body. Anything that goes inside the body, the parasite which goes inside, is the endoparasite, inside, endo. Okay, for example, the malarial protozoa here, and the other type is ectoparasite, which remains on the surface. Okay, for example, it can be ticks that we see in dogs, or lice that we see in human. Okay, these two are example of ecto and endoparasite. So the question is the growing embryo, the fetus, or the unborn baby within the womb of the mother, is it a parasite? Really? The mother is the host. Now, the fetus takes the nutrition from the mother, it gives its excretory products away to the mother through its placenta, right? It is getting benefits from the mother. The mother, on the other hand, suffers from hormonal issues. She suffers from high BP, gestational diabetes, and whatnot. So is it true that the fetus is a parasite and the host is the mother? Okay, so to our relief, the answer is no. Why is it so? It is because the fetus, though it takes nourishment from the mother, and the mother suffers a little, I shouldn't say little, but suffers some problem, some health hazard due to the fetus, but it is a part of the reproductive process of the mother of humans. So we cannot consider the fetus as a parasite. Apart from the emotional part also, we cannot consider the fetus as a parasite, because the first, the first point or the first statement for being a parasite is a parasite and the host need to be of 2 different species. Remember, we discussed about that malarial parasite and the human. Human is a different species, and that protozoa, the malarial parasite, is a different species. So they need to be of different species, and moreover, the growing fetus is a part of the reproductive process of human. What a relief. The second one among the negative interaction among species is predation. So in case of predation, what happens, we all know this type of interaction, where, for example, if you put in a room a lion and a zebra, we know the consequences, right? We all know what will happen. The lion will eat the zebra, right? So this sort of interaction is known as predation, where the predator, here the lion, will eat the zebra. This, in case of plants, the plants will be the victim, and the animals here, the herbivores, it can be cow or any other grazing animals, it will feed upon the plants. Okay. So next is competition. In case of competition, what happens? It is similar to that of predation, but with a little twist. The twist here is, in the same room, like the previous one, there is a lion, a zebra, and now we are introducing a cheetah. Okay, so it will be clash of clans or clash of titans, we can say. So the lion and the cheetah, they will fight for their food, which is zebra here. Okay, so it will not happen like they will say, okay, let's come over together and eat. No, this won't happen, and they will fight for their food. Okay, because why? Because why will they fight? They also know that this sort of interaction is going to cost, it can cause their life as well, or not life, they will seriously get injured, right? So what they do is they try to avoid it as much as possible, but in severe case, when the resources are limited, they will fight because they have no other options. Okay, but remember the example I gave, that they cannot share, but this sort of sharing or resource partitioning is also seen. So there is a hypothesis, which is Gause hypothesis. This Gause hypothesis, my goodness, I will tell you, this question has come so many times. Even in last year, 2024, I guess, NEET. Okay, in NEET 2024, there was this question where this statement was given. Okay, no two organism can have the same niche, and one of the two will be eliminated. Okay, these exact two statements were given, and they asked like choose the correct statement. Okay, 1 is correct, 2 is correct, both are correct, none. Okay, this was the question exactly, and this topic is very, very important. So the Gause hypothesis, it states that no two species, or I should say no two individuals, maybe of the same species or of the different species, they cannot stay in the same place, and if they have the same resources. Okay, for example, if there is a hyena, okay, and hyena feeding on some small animals maybe, and there is another what should I say, a cheetah or maybe some other animals who is also feeding on the same animal, they cannot coexist in the same place. They have to change their resources, or they have to change their place of living. This is a very important thing. Okay, now comes the principle of competitive exclusion. What is it? This is the principle of competitive exclusion, which is Gause's hypothesis. Okay, so don't confuse these two things. This both are same. Resource partitioning is when, for example, I said like there is a zebra, the lion and the cheetah, they will say, okay, let us feed on the same food, and we will divide. It doesn't happen that way, but in case of some animals, it does happen. See here in the picture, in picture number 1, a yellow bird is feeding on the insects of the tree. Next, there is another bird which is red in color, and it is also feeding on the same tree. So what will happen? There will be a clash between the yellow and the red bird, right? So in the third picture, we can see resource partitioning happening. How is it happening? Let me explain. The yellow birds, they are taking the upper part of the tree, that is in the crown, the leaves, the branches. Okay, they are foraging on the insects, and the red birds, what they are doing, they are foraging on the lower part of the trees. Okay, this part. Okay, so in this way, resource partitioning occurs. The fourth one here is commensalism. So we have done parasitism, we have done predation, we have done competition. Next is commensalism. Commensalism is where one person or the one individual gets affected, and the other is they are not affected, or they are not involved in any way. They just affect the other individual in a way. For example, you can say when elephants or herd of elephants, they move, what they do not consider the plants or the animals or the burrowing animals and maybe insects that are present, but they are getting affected by the movement of the animal, by specifically here the elephant. The elephant doesn't gain anything, it doesn't lose anything, there is no effect on the elephant in general. But the plant that gets like trampled or maybe destroyed by the movement, they get affected seriously. So this sort of interaction is commensalism. So we have done the 4 different types of negative interaction among species. Okay, so if you're still present till this point of the class, so I hope you are enjoying the video. So do give a like if you enjoy. Also comment down in the comment section if you have any queries. I will definitely respond, and do subscribe to my channel if you like this video. Okay, so now let's move to the positive interactions. So here we will start with the second part of this video, which is positive species interaction. So positive effects of species interaction is basically stories of friendship. Okay, stories of friendship, and it can be of 3 types, which is mutualism, protocooperation, and commensalism. So the first is symbiosis or mutualism. Mutualism is the story of friendship. It's what friends do, best friends. So this sort of relation is positive for both, and it is obligatory, meaning this is essential. So let's suppose there are 2 friends. Okay, they are best friends, and the first friend, that is the girl, she brought 2 pencil and no eraser, and the boy, he brought 2 eraser without any pencils. So that's what best friends do all the time. Okay, so anyway, so what the girl does, she gave one of her pencil to her friend, and the boy in return gave a eraser to the girl. So they exchanged each other's stuff, and thereby they managed to write in their class without any scolding from the teacher. So here both, they had a positive relation, right? She gave something, in return she got something which is essential, and the boy also got something positive, that is the eraser from the girl, and also they managed to survive. So this is essential for their own survival also. It is similar to in what we see in Sholay, like Jay and Viru, right? It is a story of best friendships. So here also in nature, what we see in case of the bee and the flower, the bee, what the bee does is, the bee collects the nectar from the flower and in turn pollinates the flower, which is both essential. Okay, essential is this entire process, essential to both the bee and the flower. Another example we can see is mycorrhiza. So what is mycorrhiza? Mycorrhiza is a fungal hyphae that is present on the root nodules of higher plants. So mycorrhiza, what the fungal hyphae does is, the fungal hyphae, it supplies water and nutrients, which is very, very essential for the plant. We all know it supplies the plant with water and nutrients, and the plant, what it does, it supplies food to the fungal hyphae. So this sort of association is called as mycorrhiza. And if I am not wrong, this exact question came in one, I'm not sure, maybe 2006 or 7 NEET. Okay, this is that important, and this sort of question, it comes in every year in most of the exams, be it civil service, be it teaching exams, be it NEET, all sorts of exams. This association is crucial. This is very, very important from exam point of view as well, and this is also very important thing in nature as well. So now let's move to the next part, which is another important thing, which is lichen. Okay, what is a lichen? It is basically an association of fungus and a alga. The alga, it gets water, minerals and protection from the fungus, and the fungus gets carbohydrate from the alga. And this association, like the mycorrhiza or the bee and the flower, it is also very, very important for their own survival. From exam perspective, it is important as well, but for their survival also, it is very, very important. So this is a picture of the fungal hyphae, you can see, and the algal cells, which is present in between the fungal hyphae. Okay. Next is protocooperation. What is protocooperation? We have learned in mutualism, the bond between the two is obligatory. That means it is essential. Without them, they will not be able to survive. Okay. But in case of protocooperation, it is essential. It is beneficial for both the parties, but it is not obligatory. It is not obligatory. It is beneficial but not obligatory. The example here is that of Adamsia and hermit crab. See here, the Adamsia is this one, okay, the one at the top, okay, it is a sea anemone, and the hermit crab is the crab here, you can see. So what it does and how does they both get benefited? The Adamsia, they give protection to the hermit crab, and also it secretes a chitinous substance, and thereby it increases the shell life of the hermit crab. And the hermit crab, what it does, it moves to different places and it helps in collecting the food, which is in turn benefits the Adamsia. Okay, here in this case you can remember this in the form of a story where similar, you and your friend, okay, so you brought a pencil in a drawing class and he brought just coloring pens maybe. So you are able to draw a picture with a pencil, but you won't be able to color it, right? So this is not true that only like you are able to sketch, but your coloring will be beneficial but not like obligatory, right? And similarly for your friend, he can do the entire painting with just colors, but it would be better if he can add pencil drawing also. So this sort of like association is good for both of you, but it is not essential for your survival. So that is about proto-corporation. Next is commensalism. Okay, so commensalism, or what we say, in which both the organisms, they are benefited. The commensals are benefited. One commensal is benefited and the other is not harmed nor benefited. It is unharmed. There is no effect on the other party that is involved. Okay, here in commensalism. So let us understand the story first. See here, the girl, she brought one pencil and two eraser. She needs one eraser, one pencil, and the one eraser is extra. So as usual, her nalayak dost, he forgot to bring the eraser because the previous day he brought two eraser and now he forgot this day. So the girl, she gave the one eraser to her friend. So he is able to like write and then rub and erase all the things he can do. He can use it. It gets beneficial for him, and you're not being affected in any way because you have brought one pencil, one eraser, and the other eraser, it is extra. So you can easily give it to your friend. So those hote kis kaam ke, right? So here let us understand the example, the real example that happens in nature. It is that of a cattle egret and a cattle. So what happens, the cattle, while feeding on the grasses, it stirs the grass and the insects come out, and the cattle egret, it feeds upon that insects. So in this way the cattle egret gets benefited. It's a positive for a cattle egret, and for the cattle it is neither positive nor negative. Okay, so this is the classic example of commensalism, right? So we have completed the entire topic. Hope you liked it. If you like it, do give me a thumbs up, and if you have any query, any doubt about the things we did today, you can write down in the comment section. I will
answer them. So the first question we will discuss here is mycorrhiza. So now the questions we will discuss, they are very, very important from the exam point of view, and this question particularly about mycorrhiza is absolutely important because I have already told you this, that this topic is very important. The entire species interaction is very important, and particularly mycorrhiza, this question has, I think, has come innumerable times. Okay, many times it has come in the exam, and it is very important from the exam point of view. So now let's understand what is mycorrhiza, though I have already discussed, but I will discuss again from the options this time. I will go from the option D to A. So what are decomposers? Decomposers are organisms that convert complex organic matter to simpler ones. So decomposers is not the option. What are ecto and endoparasitism? We have already discussed this many times. Endoparasite is parasites, those who live inside the body. Okay, for example, we have discussed malarial parasite. Ectoparasitism, these are parasites which live on the surface of the body. For example, lice, ticks. Okay, so these are the things. What And finally, what is the first option? The correct answer is symbiotic relation, and we have discussed this numerable times. What is a symbiotic relations? In which both are benefited positively, and obviously benefited, it is going to be positive, and it is obligatory in nature. For example, in case of mycorrhiza, it is an association between what? Between the fungal hyphae and the roots of higher plants. How does this happen? The fungal hyphae, they supply water and nutrition to what? To plants, because plants need it. Water and nutrition is required by plants, and the plants in turn give food to whom? To the fungus, to the fungal hyphae. So this is about mycorrhiza. Now the next question is, high density of elephant population in an area result in. So this question, this came in the year 2007. So high density means what? For example, in this particular room, suppose there is a space for 5 individuals. If I push another 5 inside it, what will happen? It will be congested. There won't be enough space for living, right? They will feel congested. There will not be enough resource for these all people together. So it will result in what? High competition. The competition will increase, right? So here also, density, high density in elephant population in a particular area will lead to what? Will lead to competition. So we know the answer will be, let's just clear this. The answer is going to be competition, some sort of competition, right? So what sort of competition will be there? Intraspecific or interspecific? I have given you an example. I hope you remember the example between, in a room, if you have a lion, a cheetah and a zebra. So what will happen? The lion and the cheetah will compete for what? They will compete for their food. So there, in that case, it was a competition, but that was a competition between what? Between lion and cheetah, which is of 2 different species. It was a different species. So that competition was what? That competition was interspecific, because it is of different species. But here in this case, the elephant population, it is of the same population, same species. So it is going to be intraspecific competition. The right answer is intraspecific competition. So not interspecific. And predation, we know it is, predation means if the lion feeds on that zebra, so that would be predation. It is not the correct answer. Mutualism we have already discussed, like mycorrhiza, lichen, etc. Right. So we have understood the questions. So that was it about today. And there was another point I think I forgot, which I need to mention. It is brood parasitism. Which is brood parasitism. What is brood parasitism? A classic example of brood parasitism, which will help you to understand the concept, is that of crow and cuckoo. Okay, so how does this happen? It is, you all know, like cuckoo has a tendency of laying the eggs, and what they do, they deposit the eggs in the nest of crow, and the crow assumes that it is their eggs, and they try to incubate it, and finally when the eggs are hatched, they see that it is not their own eggs. So this sort of example is, this sort of concept is brood parasitism. This is seen in nature, and it is a part of parasitism process. Another important concept is allelopathy. Both these two concepts are very important from exam point of view. So I'm mentioning this because I've found this many a times in the question paper. Allelopathy. So what is allelopathy? This is a competition. Okay, this is an example of competition where a tree, one plant or one tree, they inhibit growth of another tree. Okay, they actually inhibit, they do not allow growth of other trees. How? They in some way release some chemicals or other, I shouldn't say hormones, but some sort of chemicals, phenols, you can see they release phenols, so thereby inhibiting growth of other trees. So this is specifically used in managing weed production. Okay, weed, the growth of weed this entire process is being used to manage weed production. Okay, they negatively inhibit growth of weeds. So these two concepts are extremely useful and very important from exam point of view. These are allelopathy and brood parasitism. Allelopathy is must. Okay, brood parasitism is also important. So hope you enjoy today's class, and if you have any doubt, you can write in the comment section. I will put the link of the first class in the description box, and if you enjoy the video, do subscribe and like. That was it for today. Seeing you in the next video, and we will be covering the other aspects of organism and population, and then we will move to food chain, food web, and the other topics of ecology and environment. Thank you. Love.